Welcome back. I'm playing Warhammer 40,000 Battlesector, and we'll continue on with our multiplayer tips section. I am working on the Tyranid faction currently, and the next unit we're going to discuss are the Genestealers. Excuse me. Now, if you've been watching a lot of my tips videos up to this point, you've probably seen me use the Genestealers, and I've kind of shown how I like to use them. But I'll bring them out again here and do something specific for it. Now, if you are going to do a heavy Genestealer army, you probably want to bring out a Broodlord. And the reason is these Genestealers cost quite a bit of points at 65. Each model has 45 health, 1 action point, 5 movement, so they can move pretty far, 3 armor, and 5 evasion. I guess I'll go over the basics and then we'll talk about some different tactics, and it's probably the best way to do this here. So they're considered a regular trooper, but at 65 points, they're over twice the cost of the Termagants, and they're just short of twice the cost of the Hormagaunts, which would be your alternative option if you wanted to go with a melee force with troopers. But the Genestealers, their claim to fame is they have great armor piercing. So each model has 1 attack. It does 16 to 22 damage. It has armor piercing of 6. Melee, it's obviously only a melee attack, and it has a base accuracy of 80%. Now, the thing that makes the Genestealers very powerful, and why they're probably worth the points, although I think you could make an argument that maybe they should be 60, but that might make them too cheap, is they get both the benefits of swarm tactics and the brood telepathy. And so what the swarm tactics is like I said, if you've been watching my other videos with the Tyranid faction, you'll see I use the swarm tactics when I'm playing with the swarm army kit. And so what that is up to, you want to have low tier infantry, so it'll either be the Genestealers, the Gargoyles, the Termagants, or the Hormagaunts. If there's at least 4 other units touching it that are one of these trooper categories, you'll benefit from the swarm tactics. And what that is anything that has the swarm tactics ability, which are those 4 units, for each one that's touching it, it will increase the melee damage by 50% and the rain damage by 35%. So that means if you have these guys totally surrounded, you'll have plus 200% melee damage. So, you know, effectively double the amount of damage that's going on here. So that's 32 to 44 times 5. And if you're doing, these guys obviously don't have the range, but then they also get the benefit of the brood telepathy. And what this does is, you, instead of getting the synapse bonuses like what these guys do, the Genestealers have their own ability, and that's the brood telepathy. And so that means up to 4 times, and this one has a bigger range, so it has like a 3x3. So if there's other brood people around there, then it can get 20 evasion, so that brings their evasion up to 25, and they get up to 200 momentum gains. And so now you can start to see how these guys can get pretty crazy if you're able to keep them alive. The issue is most people know that these guys can get crazy, and they'll focus fire them down, and so you get big costs. And then instead of just the regular brood telepathy, if you bring the evolved brood telepathy, then these guys will give even more of a range. Because what these are is, it's like next to them, I think, is how it works for these guys, but the improved brood telepathy gives it like a 3x3 square. I think that's how it works, but I will verify this for you right now when we kit these guys out here. So that's the advantage here. What most people will do is bring out 2 or 3 of them. If they're only doing 2 or 3, they probably don't want to spend the points on this guy because he's pretty expensive. He's a fun unit, he's good, but almost nobody uses him because it's hard to make him work. So instead of having all these points invested, they'll do kind of a standard synaptic leader. They'll have 2 or 3 of these guys, so they get a little bit of the brood telepathy bonuses, but the big thing is they'll bring more of these cheap units so they can move in, soak up the overwatch, and then kind of surround the Genestealer so he gets all the swarm tactics, because just the swarm tactics by itself makes these guys pretty incredible. I haven't really found that the brood telepathy has made any game changing events for me. So I kind of wish they would redo how the brood telepathy worked. Maybe, I don't know, probably doubling the evasion or increasing that might make it get kind of crazy, because once you start to get above 20 evasion, it gets to be really hard to hit the units. But I don't know. I just don't feel like the brood telepathy quite works out as good as it should, especially with not many players using the Broodlord, because he's kind of expensive for what he does. The Paroxysmum is a good ability, but because of how short the range is, you know, you can't cancel a lot of the overwatches, so most people don't use it. But I will give you an example of how to use these guys here. Oops. So let's go back here, do a skirmish. And actually, am I up for Tyranids again? No, I'm up for Blood Angels. Alright, so let's do a Blood Angels. Now the thing that's tough with these Genestealers is because they have more movement, most players will want to put them in the front to really close the gaps, but you need to keep them alive. So you actually want the Termagants to be in front here to soak up any sort of overwatch fire that could occur. Oh, okay, so brood telepathy has this, and it has to be touching. But the evolved brood telepathy has a 3x3, so it has the bigger range. Okay, so that's how that works. Yeah, so as long as guys are in the evolved brood telepathy square, then the Genestealers will get the bonuses. So you see they got plus 40 accuracy, 200 momentum gains, plus 20 evasion. And then when you start throwing in all the bonuses from the swarm tactics, which are here as well, you can start to see how they can really start to do some crazy amounts of damage. So that's what differentiates them. Let's get these guys moved up so they can try to soak up any overwatch that might be occurring here. Yeah, see if they got 4x4, then it's 40 melee accuracy, 200 momentum gains, 20 evasion, and then 200 melee damage, 140 range damage. So these guys could really start popping off here. I'll just smack down this land speeder. Come on, you have a 70% chance to hit here, guys. Alright. So, how do I want to do this? Let's start with this. Get those big old momentum gains going. Bring you over this way. Show me what they have all got here. Well, let's start bringing you guys up. Like so. You can puke those ones down. And now you've got 4 and 3. So if I bring you up here, will that bring you up to 4 again? Oh, I see. These guys are the ones that are not giving you the bonus. Well, you should still be able to do a bunch. So, let's see. Can you one-shot these guys? So that would be 5. Yeah, you should be able to one-shot this. So that's now down. So let's bring you over here. Bring you up here. Bring you up here. Get you here. You can come back this way. Bring you in the center here. Just to come around this way. And I guess we'll bring you this way. Which then means you can come this way. And I still couldn't put them together, unfortunately. We're still short, but you should still be able to get the kill. So they're down. And I need to be able to kill these guys. Because I can't have them flaming me. Run you up here. Let you smoke into those guys. Come here. You can come up this way. You can start smacking these guys down. And smack this guy. You've now got the momentum. Let you shoot into there. Guess we'll have you run around the back. Let you attack here. Because that guy can do some damage to us for sure. And then we'll surge, come here, let you get the kill here. There's 2 more down. Bring you up to here. And we'll let you attack here. So nice damage. Good. Unfortunately, by doing that, now these guys aren't ready. Alright, go ahead and just surge into these guys, because I think there's a good chance he's just going to whip a bunch of grenades and kill some of these guys. And we'll turn you this way, because I imagine he's going to definitely want to mess you guys up. Yep, this is kind of what I was expecting. Alright. Well, let's bring you over this way. Let you smack down these assault squads. Get you over this way. Let you get to here. Okay. You can kill these guys. Good. Let you shoot into these guys. Nice. So you've got 2 here. I bring you here. That'll now bring him up to all those swarm tactics there. Alright, and you... come over here. So now you've got the Evolved Brood, so that should help you kill these guys. Oh, that's kind of disappointing. Alright, they're down now. I'll let you move up here. Let you search here. Alright, you come this way. Start smacking down these aggressors. Alright, now you're up to 3. I don't know if I'm going to get any more than 3 from what I'm seeing here. So I'll let you attack again. You're just short. guys come around this way. So as you see, it's just kind of like stacking up abilities. So you can see the difference in their damage when they're not getting the swarm tactics and everything. You're like, man, those guys don't seem very good. But alright, he doesn't have his zone of control anymore, does he? Doesn't look like it. Another one down. Oh, so these guys also have the zone of control 3 attacks too. I thought the Thornback was the only one that had it, so. And then obviously the Genestealers don't have any abilities that would cause for whatchamacallit, the enhanced ability or empower. So that's a big thing. If you're going to bring these guys out, you know, you probably want to bring the Broodlord, like I said, so you can get the large area here. Now, maybe if you ended up moving 2 of them with you, then you could get multiple evolved telepathy areas and kind of extend the zone. I'll actually upload a video here to see if that in fact works. I suspect it's going to. Okay, so I selected an army that has 2 Broodlords. So what happens is if you have him outside of the radius here, because these guys don't count, but let's say I move him out, it now has 3, right? And you can see the 3 here. But if I move him in, now he's got 4, but if I move him out, it's still 4. So what happens is if you have the 2 Broodlords in the same square with each other, then it will in fact extend the range of the telepathy here. So as you can see, normally it'd be 1, 2. I might as well just show the lines here. So it would normally have 2 on here with my unit as well, but because the other Broodlord is over on the right left upper corner here, it extended the range, so now it's including the other 2 units on the left side here that would normally be outside, or I guess it would be 3 Genestealers that would be outside the range. So you can actually stack it up by having the 2 Broodlords together as long as the 2 Broodlords themselves are within the same box. Because if the Broodlord's outside the box here, I think that makes sense, then you would not get the benefits. Again, so I move him out. There's only 2 connections. I move him in. It's now 4, and it brings all 3 of those other guys over into the connection web. Now again, it maxes out at 4, which is why it's not showing that there's actually in fact 5, but the Broodlords themselves do not count as synapses here. Now the part that's interesting is, yeah, it works for this guy, but then these guys are still outside of the square, so it only works for them. So it's kind of a cumbersome way of doing this. So it works for the Broodlords, doesn't necessarily work for the Genestealers themselves. It's kind of a one-way street here. So as you can see, the evolved telepathy, it's getting 3 connections, but for the Broodlords themselves, they're getting the +4 because it's getting the bonuses from guys that are outside the range. So definitely pretty cumbersome way of doing it, but that is how the game is encoded. Perhaps one of the ways they could buff the Broodlord is that they just make it so if they're within the same square, everything gets the buff, and it just extends the zone of control more into one box, but I don't know how you would code for that. I think that would be pretty tricky. But I suppose that would be another way that you could try to buff the Broodlord to make them selected unit more often. But at this point in time, it's like most people are just going to want to use a prime because it's much easier to focus on the synaptic leader buffs than it is the Broodlords, because you have Genestealers and Broodlords that can take advantage of the evolved telepathy, whereas every other unit in the Tyranid faction can benefit from the synaptic leader, and so that's why these guys tend to get left behind. So but that would be what you'd want to do, and then you can bring these guys over and get some attacks too. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you are, please give my channel a like and subscribe to encourage me to post more content for you. Have a great day.